You know how sometimes you come across a piece of media that sounds like it has a lot of promise in its story, so you decide to check it out, but by the end, you're left so disappointed in it that you make up a more satisfying version of it in your head? Yeah, that's basically the premise for this whole video. The original synopsis for the novel The Night We Said Yes by Lauren G. goes like this. Before Matt, Ella had a plan. Get over a no good ex boyfriend, graduate high school without any more distractions, move away from Orlando, Florida, where she's lived her entire life. But Matt, the cute, shy, bespectacled bass player who just moved to town, was not part of the plan. Neither was spending an entire night saying yes to every crazy fun thing they could come up with. But then Matt abruptly leaves town, breaking not only Ella's heart, but those of her best friends too. When he shows up a year later with a plan to relive the night that brought them together, Ella isn't sure whether Matt's worth a second chance, or if recreating the past can help them create a different future. Hi, my name is Reese, and if you're new here, this channel is where I share my interests, be it books, music, shows, and or my subjective opinions, as well as original animations I do, as I currently work towards my major in animation and digital arts. I first read The Night We Said Yes back in 2022 and reread it again for this video, and both times I was just really frustrated with how the story played out because the premise sounded like a really fun coming of age romance, but there were things that really ruined my experience with it. Disclaimer before I get too far, this video is not meant to be an attack on the author or her work, since this is G. Baldy's first published novel, and as someone who writes in their spare time, I can tell you firsthand how hard it is to write anything, let alone a full-length novel. Instead, this is entirely self-indulgent. If you, the viewer, are interested in more videos like this, I have a handful of ideas that have been in my mind for a good while now. First, I'm going to go over what I liked and disliked about the book, and keep in mind this is all my personal opinion. Then go over the rewrite of the story. Okay, what I liked about the book, I really loved the dialogue and interactions between characters. They all feel like how actual teenagers would interact with each other, and it gives the whole story a more youthful energy to it. Here are some of my favorite sections. This is on page 4 and 5. Now, who can we meet? Anyone interesting who's, not gay? Meg asks, sipping her stolen drink. Go roam. I'm sure you'll meet someone up to your very high standards, Evan answers. He's Meg's older brother. Leaning against his counter. And Ella, try not to have too much fun, he adds. Ha ha, I say, offering him a nice fake smile. See? Fun. Meg, get her drunk or something. I'm tired of mopey Ella. Mopey Ella was promised a bounce house. That will make her happy, I say. And then on page 116 through 117, she's really good, she said to Matt, then to me. I'll only allow you to document my highly successful career. It'll be the first thing I write about, I said, laughing. You should write about tonight, Jake interrupted, still in a British accent. But give me a beard. I always thought I'd look smashing in a beard. That's only because you can't grow one, Mr. Peach Fuzz, Meg rebutted. He gave her a sly grin and got even closer. So the accent is a permanent thing now, Matt asked, looking over. I'll keep going until the ladies tell me to stop. Stop! Meg and I both shouted, laughing. Our one-syllable word echoed through the trees, bouncing off nearby houses. And then page 199 with Meg and Ella. I came out of the dressing room in my pink ensemble and laughed. Just laughed. I couldn't believe someone would not only try on, but purchase the dress. I waited patiently for Meg. Introducing Meg Donna, she shouted from her dressing room. She came out strutting, as if she were on a catwalk, and I cracked up. Not only was the jumpsuit hideous, but she paired it with oversized glasses and a wide, bright gold belt. Her hair was piled on top of her head in a huge knot. That is amazing, I said, catching my breath. Isn't it? I can totally rock it. Of course you can, Meg Donna. Like Madonna, Meg said matter-of-factly, before belting out the chorus of Like a Virgin. Like, there's some really wholesome moments in this book that I really like. It is just very cute. The book is told through the dual perspective of Ella in the present and Ella a year prior. And I actually really like the use of these POVs, or more specifically, how well placed they are to each other. There's good narrative flow with where each chapter ends and begins. Speaking of Ella, I think she's the perfect character for the reader to follow for this story. I think how she was written was done exceptionally well. I really like the prose that Gibaldi uses throughout the novel. And usually when characters constantly refer to off-page events, it can come off as annoying, but here the author does it in a way that establishes the bond and history Ella has with the rest of the cast. It didn't help me to care more about them, unfortunately, but it makes everyone feel more alive, in a way. And the cast is written decently. I have some problems with some of their actions in this book, like excusing others' behavior or withholding information. I don't hate them for what they do. They are teenagers. They are still maturing and learning about life and relationships, but I'm still mad about some of the choices they make. Especially Jake, but I'm going to go more in depth on him later. It is clear that the characters do love one another, and they never forget that for a moment, and I do think that's very sweet. It makes them more of a believable friend group. I appreciate what the author was trying to do with the romance between Ella and Matt. They click with each other pretty easily during the first night, and from what we get, you can see how Matt can be someone Ella would be attracted to. When Ella finally confronts Matt on why he left Orlando, she rightfully is upset that he essentially ghosted her and criticizes the way he went about things. This is page 137. You gave me a list of drugs that you found on the floor at a Starbucks, I state evenly. I hoped it was something, he says shyly, looking back at his hands. Always at his hands. A list of drugs? How was I supposed to know what that meant? I practically yell. I don't know. I tried. You know I'm not great at communicating, I finish for him. Right. Yeah. And then the note before I left. Wait. The note you found at school about going to jail for stealing lunch from the cafeteria? That was supposed to be a hint? I ask. Matt. I breathe heavily, seeing how much he tried but didn't. You could have just told me. A sentence, that's all it would have taken. I say, I mean, just like tonight. You could have told me all of this at the party, but you had to make it this big production with reenacting a night. I just want you to be honest and stop hiding from me. And then I'm skipping ahead to page 140 through 141. This is Matt. I didn't know how bad my brother's situation would be. Like I said, I wanted to tell you once we got there, but you couldn't. I sarcastically finished for him. Right. I stare at him, waiting for more. More of an explanation, because that's not good enough. Yes, he had a hard time, and yes, I feel bad for him, but there had to be more. Why didn't he just end it once he got there? Why leave me hanging? I don't know if it's his story or my pent-up emotions, but I feel my heart start pounding. That makes no sense, Matt, I cry out. So you just stopped talking to me? Instead of doing anything, once again? It's such a cheap way out. Did you really think that would work? I loved you. I feel tears falling down my face, mingling with the raindrops, and I'm not sure which is dripping onto my shirt. And I don't know how I got from sad to angry to sad again so quickly. I know, he says, turning back to me with fire in his eyes, and I feel how close the car is around us. Don't you think it hurt me too? He raises his voice. I was the one being the bad guy. I had to live without you too. Matt, I thought we were still dating, I yell, letting him hear the words. Really hear them. We never broke up, so I never knew where we stood, and it killed me. I didn't want to let you go because I just knew you'd come back into my life. And then I felt so stupid when you didn't. Like, this is the culmination of a girl who had her heart broken by a cheating ex that asked for a high five while he was breaking up with her, and a guy that has shit communication skills. My cat is currently just watching me from on top of my dresser right here. Say hi, Amber. Okay, moving on to what I didn't like, which is gonna be probably a lot. This point is really subjective, but their night of yeses is the most disappointing thing I've ever seen a group of teenagers do in a story like this. Like, the concept of saying yes to everything for one night gives us the expectation that some wild, crazy stuff is going to go down, but all these guys do is get liquor, go up to their school roof, which I guess is a little crazy, but like, not really, do Never Have I Ever, go swim in the school pool, witness 2 blow-ups between Meg and Jake, then ending with the 2 couples getting together after a very rushed concert session. Also, I forgot to add that Meg is Ella's best friend and Jake is also Ella and Meg's friend, but he is also Meg's boyfriend. And that Matt had left Orlando in like the middle of their senior year to Texas with the rest of his family due to finding out his brother was selling drugs at college, which is a pretty crappy situation to be in. Anyways, and then you read the present night, and this is where the synopsis lies. Straight up, our 4 characters do not get to spend a night of saying yes to everything. Jake isn't seen until the end of the present timeline. Meg is left at Evan's party. Gabby and Barker, 2 friends that are part of the friend group that make a couple appearances in the past timeline, never make an appearance despite how much they're mentioned. All while Ella and Matt go back to the school roof to play Truth or Dare before Ella confronts Matt about him leaving. You cannot just have all this focus on the friend group and then not include everyone when the inciting incident happens. Like, I just wanted fun, you know, not melodrama between teenagers. Literally, most of the plot is just characters talking, going to another place to then talk some more, and then everyone having to deal with Meg and Jake. Ugh. I need to wet my throat before I get into this next section. This whole narrative is ruined by Jake and Meg's relationship because Jake is a philanderer in the most insufferable teenage boy way possible. I do not like Jake. I do not care if at the end of the day he's still a loyal and caring friend. I do not care that he has issues stemming from his douchey alcoholic father. I'm sympathetic towards him on that, don't get me wrong, as I am to the characters trying to deal with 2 friends who are in an on-again, off-again relationship. But I just could not stand everyone letting his behavior be brushed to the side. There are a handful of scenes in particular that just make this whole thing tragic. This is on page 159 through 160 between Meg and Jake. Who was that? Meg asked without a pause. Elise. Elise from Wing King? Yeah. He wasn't meeting her eye, staring intently at a tree instead. I raised my eyebrow at Matt and he nodded in agreement. It was the calm before the storm, the questioning before the fight. Why is she calling you? Because she wants to hang out, and that's okay because you're not my girlfriend anymore. And this is when Meg and Matt get back from Jake and Meg's fight on page 168. Jake, you can't drive. You've been drinking. Elle, seriously, I don't want to be lectured right now. So stop being the mutter you always end up being and leave me the hell alone. The words hit me hard, vibrating through my body. I stopped walking and just stared at him as I let his words sink in. Jake, leave her alone, Matt said. Screw you, Matt. You want to stay here with your new girlfriend? Fine, see if I care. Jake threw his cigarette on the ground, stepped on it, and got back into his truck. Two thoughts battled in my mind. On one hand, I didn't want Matt near Jake at a time like this. I'd seen Jake angry before, but never mean like this. But on the other hand, I wanted someone to look after him, make sure he didn't hurt himself. Jake revved his engine, presumably waiting for Matt. Like, I get you had a big argument with your girlfriend, but that is, like, no way you should be talking to your friends that just want to make sure you're okay. Like, seriously, dude. And then this is page 178 between Ella and Meg. But you broke up with him, I pointed out. And for a good reason, don't forget. I know, and I'm glad I did. He was a crappy boyfriend, but it doesn't mean I stopped loving him, she sighed. She looked defeated, dead behind the eyes, as if it hurts her to admit this. He's dated a few girls since, you know. They only last a couple of days. Every time they break up, he comes back to me, and I let him. Every single time. But why? You know it's not going to last. You're better than this, Meg. I know, it's just, how do you think it makes me feel every time I see him with a new girl? I hate him. And then he comes back to me, all cute and sweet, with these promises about changing. I know he won't, but I can't say no. This was after Meg tells Ella that her and Jake had been hooking up a few times, even though they had broken up, which I don't know how to feel about that. Actually, scratch that. That is starting to sound a lot like a dysfunctional relationship. And then, not even an hour after this whole debacle, Meg and Jake get into a fight yet again on page 221 through 224. And I just want to say that before this scene begins, Ella is taken to the side by her friend Gabby because Gabby wants her to break Meg and Jacob. Like, what's she gonna do? Alright, so page 221. I don't get it, Jake. What do you want? I don't know. How many times do I have to tell you that? If you don't know, then leave me out of it, Meg said. I would if you'd let me. You're the one who keeps coming back to me. Every time you're bored with one of your girls, you come back to me. Because you tell me to, Jake yelled. You're always there, always telling me what I'm missing out on, or whatever. What if I'm not missing you, huh? It sure seems like it, with the amount of times you've tried getting back with me. Yeah, because it's easy. What's that supposed to mean? Meg asked, aghast. It means I know you'll be there, so I might as well go back to you. Why do you think I always leave again? You leave because I tell you to, she yelled at him. I'm sorry I let you back in, but I'm not sorry for letting go again. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep being your backup. So stop making it so easy for me. Let me get by on my own, he yelled back. I've tried. Whatever. he said dismissively. No, I'm sick of this, Jake. I'm sick of everything. What do you want from me? I don't know, he yelled again. Then I'm just skipping a little to page 223. Don't you get it? Jake yelled back. I care about you. Too fucking much. He let it all out. All of his pent-up anger. All of the shutting down. It all came out in that one sentence. Years of emotions and letdowns and heartaches pulsated through his words. She paused, her back still to him. He looked down and then walked toward her. His voice was lower, less angry. I go back to you because I need you, but I can't do that anymore. I can't go through another round knowing that I'll eventually hurt you again. Tears streamed down her face. She wiped them away before turning around. What are you talking about? How do you know? Her voice was soft, barely audible. Because it's me. I'm a fuck-up. I mess everything up. I've messed you up enough. I can't do it again. You were right to be done with me. They'd broken up before, but his honesty made this time different. I could see his words still crossing Meg's face. But I didn't want to be done with you, she admitted finally. I didn't want to be done with you either, but I just can't keep screwing you around. I know what I'm doing and it kills me. You know what you're doing? Huh. Then don't do it, she said simply. It's not that easy. He messed up his hair, pulling out bits until they stood up. Can't be this perfect guy for you, as much as I'd like to. It's just not me. I'll always do something to fuck it up. Just like my dad. It's in my blood. You're not a fuck-up, she said, sniffling. You know, Jake, it's actually not as hard as some people make it out to be to not be hitting on other people. Just saying. And this is supposed to be like a turning point in their relationship, like a sign of that things will get better over time. And you know, I don't know. Sorry about the abrupt cut. I paused the video a little too early. But moving on, back to the present timeline. After Matt drops Ella back with Meg after her confrontation, Meg has the gall to criticize Ella for wanting to get back together with Matt and to get pissed when her friend rightfully points out how hypocritical she's being. On page 188 through 189, Meg, I reason, he's flirted with other girls in front of you. That's okay. She's referring to Jake. Although, who else would she be referring to? So, what you're saying is it's not okay to flirt, but it is okay to just disappear and leave you worried for like a year, she stammers. No, I'm just trying to figure out how they're different, I continue, pushing her. My cheeks are heating up. I know people are watching, but I don't want to stop. Every time Jake does something stupid, you forgive him, and I never stand in the way, because I want what's best for you, and what makes you happy. But Matt makes one mistake, and we're quick to toss him out. I thought you didn't want him back, she snaps, and she's mostly right. I don't even know why I'm arguing with her, but I just need to. I want to yell. I don't, I say strongly, but I at least want the option. I feel like you're just saying no without even giving him a chance. I'm always behind you every time you go back to Jake. I just want you to support me if I want Matt back. No, not when I think it's a stupid idea. Not when I think you'll get hurt again. Yeah, maybe I will, but maybe you will with Jake. She presses her lips together and squints her eyes. Here goes. Fine, do what you want. Go say yes to him, or whatever, but next time he disappears, don't tell me that I was right. Because I'll already know, she sneers, and then stands up. Like, I understand that Matt was also Meg and Jake's friend, and they both apologize afterwards, but It's the fact that Meg had brought this argument up in the first place that makes me so annoyed at her. And what really does it for me is at the end, is what the characters interpret as taking a chance. I'm taking a little kitty break. We usually never this cuddly, you know? Aw. Hi. Okay, so me and my cat just had like a 30-minute nap session. Um, Now it's like almost 3 o'clock. I paused the video at like 1:30, 1:50, I think. I don't know. And now I have another cat who has decided to join me in my room. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah. So what really does it for me with why I dislike this book so much is what the characters interpret the main theme of second chances. So this is on page 235. This is Meg talking. That's the thing though. Most of the time, I thought I was crazy too for going back to Jake. I thought I was completely mental. But something inside me said it was okay, told me to do it despite what others thought. I knew it was right. Clearly, it didn't result in the healthiest of relationships, but I feel like everything had to happen to lead to where we are now. I feel like we're right. Are we right? Who knows? But I'm happy, and isn't that what matters? It's the first time I've actually heard her say that she's happy with Jake, with where they are, despite the ups and downs. I know she is. I can see her face when he's around, but it's nice to hear her say it. Just like it's nice to see Jake being, well, Jake, and not Rockstar Jake. And then on page 236, from Ella, grinning, Meg links her fingers together and rests her chin on them, elbows on the table. Oh. He keeps his arm around her. They really are good together when they want to be. She's the only one who really understands him, and he's the only one who really makes her happy. And as I watch him absent-mindedly rub her shoulder, I think maybe Meg is onto something. She's crazy when it comes to relationships. She really is. But she always knows what she wants and goes for it. Nothing holds her back. Maybe I need a little bit of her in me now. And you know, this conclusion would be really sweet and wholesome, but there is just one thing I need to point out. Not even 10 pages in the book, we are told that Meg and Jake, these two, have yet again broken up and are shown a text from Barker that tells us Jake is flirting with girls at their band's recording session. And Ella decides to not tell Meg because she knows it will only ruin her mood. As far as I can tell, Meg thinks Jake isn't flirting with anyone, so when she says that last paragraph, that's because she's being kept in the dark. And Ella doesn't bother to ever bring it back up to Meg or even the reader. Nothing has changed. Jake has not changed. Just because somebody says he's changed is because the bar was set 6 feet under in a coffin a year ago. Oh, somebody's car is honking. Okay. If you are a teenager getting into your first relationship, it does not matter what your two's situation is. If you were friends before you started dating, or if you were attracted to each other beforehand, you should never have to tolerate your partner hitting on other people, and you should never have to stick to a relationship that causes you copious amounts of an emotional strife and arguments in the hopes of it getting better. If your partner isn't going to put in the work, then the relationship is not worth it. Yeah, this disappointed me a lot. Now, that I've gotten that out of the way, we can finally get to the main event. So, the way my rewrite of The Night We Said Yes will be structured is that the now chapters will be told through present day Matt's POV, with the then chapters being told through past Ella's POV. Again, I like how the themes of second chances were conveyed through the past and the present perspectives of the characters. So I wanted to keep that aspect. In fact, I'm pretty much keeping everyone's personalities and background intact because I don't have any problems with them. Except Jake. I'm making it so that he's actually the lovable troublemaker everyone says he is. We start with Ella's POV to the titular night Matt was included into the group. I don't really want to change anything about her relationship with her ex, Nate, but just for thematic reasons, I'm making it that he would constantly belittle her for being shy and reserves to give her more reason to be more adventurous. Matt is still very much a sweetheart and doesn't make fun or pressure her into the things the gang does throughout the night. Speaking of Matt, the present timeline starts with him meeting up with Barker and Gabby as he's not ready to face Meg, Jake, and least of all, Ella. The two are relieved to see him again, but are still very much mad that he essentially ghosted everyone. The three catch up, and Barker mentions that the gang are going to Evan's party next week, which will mark an exact year since the den night, and this gives Matt an idea. Out of the entire cast, Matt was probably the most interesting character conceptually. His family moved around a lot since his dad was in the military, so he was never able to settle down nor connect with people easily due to his nomadic lifestyle. He's used to not getting attached to anywhere or anyone, and when Matt finally finds a home and best friends in Orlando, he's uprooted once again, this time due to finding out his brother is selling drugs. In my rewrite, Matt's family moves away at the end of the summer to be closer to his brother in Texas, who isn't going to be a drug dealer. Matt is devastated by this because it means he can't spend his last year of high school with the first group of friends he ever cared for, and days before moving, he texts the group that his family's leaving. Matt thinks he can handle this, just like all the other times, but this time something in him shuts down. By January, he breaks down to his family about everything, including the realization that the gang felt like home. Despite doubting they'd still be around for college, he's encouraged to apply to Orlando and move there at the beginning of summer. Getting back to the past, Ella thinks back to the incident a month ago that occurred with Meg and Jake. Now, the two have never dated prior to night then. The gang had all witnessed an intoxicated Meg and Jake make out at Barker's birthday, with things being a bit awkward afterwards due to the duo never acknowledging nor talking about it until night then. The past timeline will play out very similar to the books. Ella meets Matt, her and Meg witness Jake hitting on a classmate, cops pull up, the gang escapes, and they head to Wing King to wait out the chaos. Barker and Gabby will be joining this time, but they'll still very much have the same impact on the story like they did in the original novel, but be there for at least moral support. Cut to the present, and Matt reaches out to Jake before Evan's party. Jake is of course beyond himself in this abrupt development and has some very choice words for him. Matt knows he fucked up and says he has a proposal that he'd like the entire group to hear out and would like to discuss in person, wanting Jake to get Meg and Ella. When the 6 characters finally meet up, Matt notices Jake and Ella dyed their hair. A detail in the book that I thought was very touching. They basically dyed their hair after the heartbreak of Matt leaving, so I thought that was cute. Meg has her go at him while Ella stays silent. After that, Matt proposes recreating the night of yeses to the reluctant enthusiasm of everyone. To add some silly little stakes, the yes game works is that if you decide to say yes to something, The asker will owe you $10, and if you say no, you have to give them $10 in return. For the rest of the past timeline, Matt proposes the game. For the rest of the past timeline, Matt proposes the game, and they head to get booze. And as the first challenge, Jake asks to head to the public pool, and Gabby asks Matt to stand in the bed of Jake's truck for the ride. Barker and Meg join him so that he's less anxious, and seeing him and her friends actually do this sparks something inside Ella. Skinny dipping ensues, with Ella leading the charge when she thinks back to Nate and his nasty little comments. Things get steamy for Matt and Ella until the police drive by and everyone races out of there. In the second location, the gang heads to Walmart to get some towels, and Meg proposes doing hide and seek there. Ella finds Meg and Jake making out in a tent, presumably because they finally talked about that accursed night at Barker's. Barker gets in trouble for hiding in the women's section, and as they're leaving the store, they run into Nate, who acts like an arrogant prick as always, and asks if they want to come to the party's new location. Ella tells him matter-of-factly they're good, and to the astonishment of everyone, Matt gets him by asking for a high five for friendship. I think between this time, Meg talks with Ella and Gabby about how worried she is about getting together with Jake because he can be a lot, but the two encourage her to because she's never been afraid to go after what she wants, and why should this be any different? Plus, they know Jake is a good guy. This time. For their last place, the gang goes to the roof of their school, where things die down a bit, and the gang do Never Have I Ever, and just talk, and get to know Matt, and vice versa. The conversation drifts to senior year, and everyone's excited for it as Matt will be joining the student body, much to his surprise and delight. When they see how late it's gotten, everyone parts for the night. Barker and Gabby go back home, while the other four go back to Matt's. Jake and Meg sleep together on this guest bed, hinting that they've decided to get together. Matt asks Ella to go on a date with him, and she decides to give love another chance and says yes. In the present timeline, Meg proposes to Matt and Ella to talk alone in a booth to finally cut the tension. The two really don't want to talk about what happened, but they soon fall back into old habits and are still very much friendly with each other. The gang head off to a mini golf course that Meg works part-time at, where everyone is trying to get hole-in-ones through very unconventional means. It's through conversations here, and while they're heading to their next destination, Matt gets filled in on what everyone had been doing over the school year and where they're going for college, and he tells them what he had been up to in Texas. He doesn't tell them about how much he mourned not being with them yet, because he doesn't want to ruin the good mood everyone's in. For their next activity, they break into their high school's indoor pool this time around, though this time nobody dives in their bathing suit. Something seems off between Meg and Jake, who'd usually be pretty flirty with each other here. Matt finds out that Meg and Jake actually broke up once in November and then permanently back in March, when the two realized that their dynamic wasn't healthy and it was causing strains in the friend group. And this information starts to make him doubt if offering second chances at friendship and love could possibly make things better for anyone. After drying up with towels Matt brought along, the gang go up to the school roof once more, this time with Jake initiating a game of truth or dare. The spell of the entire night is broken when he finally confronts Matt about why he left the group and pretty much ghosted them. The truth about why Matt had stopped communicating with everyone comes out finally. Ella is still upset about him ghosting her, essentially, and pours her heart out about the pain that caused her and everyone else. And it's within this moment that Matt confirms his fears. He's not wanted back, and it is too late to fix anything with the girl he loves. He leaves and is sitting in his car reprimanding himself when Meg asks to sit inside. She tells Matt that while everyone isn't ready to forgive him for ghosting them and, more importantly, breaking Ella's heart, it's not like they want him gone. Matt responds rather bitterly about how things won't be the same even if that happens, since everyone besides Jake is moving away. And Meg explains to him that things became different after her and Jake broke up, that they couldn't be around each other for weeks because it hurt them. But eventually, they were able to heal and gain perspective from this, and they are both in a happier relationship because of everything they went through. And Meg, mirroring Ella's past encouragement from a year prior, thinks the same can happen for him if he lets himself have a chance. Everyone is waiting at a karaoke bar for the two, Ella being the only one outside when Meg and Matt show up. Ella and Matt are left alone, with the former confessing he made her believe in taking chances and how she wants to take another chance with him. Matt smiles, not caring about their night of yeses or being separated from everyone when the fall semester rolls around, as he leans down to kiss her and make new memories with the person he loves the most. So, yeah, that is my rewrite of The Night We Said Yes by Lauren G. Baldy. And I want to clarify that I don't want this video to persuade people from not reading this book or anything else by the author, or think my version is the superior story. At the end of the day, this is a way for me to exercise my writing skills, to reinterpret these ideas in my own way. If you are someone who enjoys contemporary novels with coming-of-age melodrama where emotions are high and every moment feels big, then I think The Night We Said Yes might be up your alley. I literally procrastinated way too much this summer that it led to me not recording this video until like the last week of August, but also I don't particularly have a desire to post content regularly right now. By the time this comes out, I'll probably be back in college, which isn't going to give me a lot of time to do videos like this one, but I do want to try to post something at least once a month with something more in line with the K-pop videos I've been posting. So if you're interested in seeing more from me, then hit that subscribe button down below and set up notifications so that you don't miss anything. I would love to hear down below in the comments what you thought of my rewrite, and if there are any books that disappointed you to the point where you wrote a better version of the story in your head. Have a good day, and dozo bakchanya!